Hi, this is Will. I'm the producer of Nerdery and Murdery, and apparently, after 5 years, I'm still the producer of Nerdery and Murdery. 5 years. You know, honestly, I didn't think these two idiots would make it 5 months, but here we are. Which means for 5 years now, I've had to listen to every single episode while editing them. Every single one. The rabbit holes, the terrible jokes, the sudden dark turns into true crime. All of it. 5 years of Zig going down nerd rabbit holes and Geoffrey explaining crimes in such detail that I'm pretty sure by now I'm on several government watch lists just by producing this show. And yet, somehow, people keep listening. Which means I'm still here, still producing, still editing, still wondering how these two idiots are still on the air. Anyways, congratulations on 5 years, guys. Now, please start the show before Zig discovers another band from 1973 and Geoffrey opens a 9-page timeline on a murder case. Jesus. Cue the music.
All right, everybody, 5 years ago, we hit record on something that was supposed to be, well, a fun little experiment. 2 microphones, 2 friends, and absolutely no idea what we were getting ourselves into. Fast forward to today, episode 252, 5 years of the highs and lows, the up and the down, the good and the bad, and the nerd and the murd. Today, we're doing something different. There's not a normal format. We don't have a nerd segment. We don't have a murdery segment. Not our usual. Today, we're looking back. Welcome to 5 years of Nerdery and Murdery.
5 years.
We've got our little special 5-year anniversary logo behind us there. Yeah, you know, we had kind of talked about this. You know, did we want to invite people to the show? Did we, you know, how do we want to do this? What did we want to do for this episode? We're going to do something normal. We decided we kind of wanted to look back. We've had a lot of new listeners pop in over the last few weeks. Very much appreciate you. Some of you will be familiar with some of the stuff we talk about that we've talked about from the show. Some of you that are new may not have any information of where it all started. You may have jumped around, not heard our episode 1, which was rough but fun. And so kind of wanted to get you a peek behind the curtain of this as we celebrate 5 years. It's amazing that we're here. Number one, let me say that, and I'll actually get into that. I won't step too far into that category yet. But you know, it's so reflective to look back and think about everything that went into this show. And I'll kind of start with Zig. Do you remember where we were when this all started? How this came about?
Well, it was right around the time of actually, no, it was a Christmas. I was thinking about this the other day. There was like a work Christmas party, and you and me and Will were sitting in your office eating the lunch. Actually, I think we were eating desserts at this point, just carb loading. And you and I started talking about something, and Will's just laughing. He's like, man, you guys should do a radio show. And I was like, you know what? I've always actually wanted to do a radio show.
Yeah. And then I said, how about a podcast? Let's do that. You know, we didn't know that we could necessarily break into radio. And I had people tell me for years, man, you got a voice for radio, which, you know, has its own connotations right there.
But what's funny, sorry, I hate to cut you off, but what's funny is Will immediately piped up and says, you know, I've produced a podcast before.
Yeah. And so, you know, we started talking, you know, what if we did this, what would we do? You know, what would we talk about? And the whole thing was, you know, the conversations we have, and this is what Will was laughing about so much. And I apologize, Will couldn't be here. He had some family stuff he was taking care of. He couldn't be here for today. I wanted to try to get him here, but
I figure he'll end up doing something for the stab.
Maybe. maybe.
Yeah.
But we started talking about what this was going to be, and what Will was talking about is the fact that Zig and I could sit around and just talk about the most random shit and go down so many rabbit holes. This came from our game table years where we had 30-40% gaming and 60-70% talking shit, whatever.
Bullshit.
Because we would tail off into these conversations and go down all these rabbit holes, and we had the window of opportunity we had in our gaming table where it's like, okay, let's get back to gaming. Where
everybody would do this.
It's approaching midnight. Let's get this. So we talked about what we were going to do, and we originally talked about, let's just talk about random shit. Let's just talk about random shit that we talk about, what people might want to hear. So we started planning through that and started talking, and the more we talked about it, one of the things that I had really gotten into because of my daughter was true crime podcast. I loved them. I started with Serial, and they fascinated me. The psychology behind serial killers and cults, what twists people to do that. I was like, I kind of want to do true crime. Well, Zig didn't want to do true crime.
Oh, God, no.
That's not his bag. But it was mine, and I love doing that. And so we're like, well, what do we do? We both want to do these two different topics, and it hit one of us. I don't know which one it hit first. Why don't we combine them?
Yeah, do both.
Nobody's doing this.
Yeah,
why don't we have a podcast that's light and then dark? We give everybody a little bit of something. We talk about everything you can nerd out about, and that means everything because we have covered so many different things. We've covered comics.
We just did French Impressionism a few weeks ago.
Yeah. I mean, we've covered so much stuff. And then after that segment, we go into the true crime. We didn't mix them together. No. Although some of the stories magically made sense that we talked about them together.
Yeah, those are weird because I have no idea what the murder is going to be.
I never tell Zig what the subject is going to be because I want to surprise him. I want to shock him. I want to get real reaction to the true crime, not to be shocking. It's just I like to get the real reaction. And so that's where we were. We're like, yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to do this weird mishmash podcast that I don't think anybody's out there doing. And so
they are now.
There are some out there now. Yes, there are. I don't know that was born from us, but some other people out there have caught on to this somewhere. And so we started in the planning stages, planning, when we were going to do it, how we were going to do it. We talked about that we probably needed to get 10 episodes in the can before we could ever go live because we had no idea how fast we could turn these episodes around from recording to editing to uploading and going live. So we thought about getting 10, and then we started recording 3 episodes every 2 weeks. And that
in the same room.
In the same room. Back then, we were in the same room. We came up to my house. We set everything up. We were in the same room. COVID is where that changed everything, and we started doing on Zoom. We've kind of stayed on Zoom ever since because it's easy. We stay in our homes. We get to do what we want to do, and especially, can't do the same room now because we live 500 plus miles apart. But yeah, so that's where we were. And then the more we got episodes recording, we're like, I think we can go ahead and release. And we actually released 3 months earlier. Yeah,
because we were thinking September, I think, originally, wasn't it? Yeah. Well, we ended up releasing June the 6th. And the reason I know that is one of our it's K3's birthday. We actually released.
Those of you who have listened, Zig's daughter, Zig's child, I should say. I don't want to be non-PC here. So we released early, and we started pumping this up on Facebook, telling all of our friends, hey, we've got this podcast coming out. Listen to it. One of the people that is a friend of ours that used to love sitting around the gaming table and hearing the bullshit conversations we used to talk about. That was one of the people I reached out to. I said, man, you got to listen to this. We're coming out on this date. and she listened and she hated it. She thought we were boring. And I was like, huh, I didn't find that boring at all. But then others are listening to it and they're like, we love this. This is really cool. And so that just kind of harkens back to the whole beginning of this from our first recordings. I'm sitting here right now. I'm hungry. I really need to eat something. And I'm sitting here thinking about back when we were in the same room. We would record an episode or two, stop, we'd have some lunch, and then we would finish recording for the day. And typically we would record for 5 to 6 hours on a Sunday. In today's world, we do near the same thing. It takes about 4 to 5 hours to do our 3 episodes.
Sometimes a little less.
Sometimes a little less. Depends on the length of what we're talking about. But when I think back to that, I think about our early times, both sitting there. You had a tablet in front of you, and I had my laptop. We had our microphones. Will was sitting to my left, to Zig's right. That's always how we set up. And he is on the soundboard watching as we're going on, pausing if we needed to pause. And it was so much fun. It was great. I looked forward to those Sundays when we get together and record this and watch Will's reaction as we talk about various things.
Sometimes the mic would pick him up giggling.
Sometimes the mic would pick him up. And that's, so
we did that for about a year, right?
At least. It may have been longer than that. But that kind of makes me think of the very first recordings we did and the technical disasters we would have. We had technical disasters where equipment fell in the middle of recording, the noise levels, the dogs that would go off if a mouse farted or walked by. I can't remember who it is. It was either William or Zig in the bathroom. And they unfortunately had some bubble gut that day, and it was loud, and we were recording the whole time. We forgot to hit pause.
We have some outtakes of that because I know at one point I'm like, "Hey, you all right, buddy?" Yeah,
it's all in there, and it's so funny. It's just hysterical, and we go back to those times.
The stabs came out of the first recording session.
Yes.
Right. So we recorded the first episode, right? And we're waiting to make sure everything's working. And Geoffrey's sitting there, and I'm sitting in front of the microphone, and I'm just kind of like, "Welcome to the sweet sounds of K-Plex." And just doing this weird fucking radio guy voice just because I was bored and my brain needed to go do something. And it was like, we could do that. It was like, what? It's like, we could do that and I think we called them a stinger. And it was like, I think that the term that I've always heard was stab.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was you that said that. And it was like, well, why don't we just do those for every episode going forward? And I think we started and we recorded like 6 of them.
Yeah, we recorded several of them. We had them in rotation. And whenever we do the edits, I'd tell William, I say, okay, use this stab, use this stab, use this stab. Yeah. And that merged over time because Zig started realizing that we could actually do stabs about the episode. And they're normally, I don't know that we've ever done a stab for a murdery, but but the stabs are almost entirely what's coming up in the nerdery.
Yeah, usually sometimes I'll write stuff down. Sometimes it'd be like, I think I'm just going to riff on this.
Yeah. And so those stayed. We had our theme music that I found very early. I purchased the rights to the theme music, and we used that forever. We had them both as our start and our end sequence. And then over time, there were specific episodes where I found some other theme music that I thought really fit.
Halloween song.
Halloween was one of those, which I loved. I love our Halloween song, which has now evolved. I've now done music at the end of every episode, which is all different. I've got some that are in rotation, but if we have a specific theme that I think I could do a song around that, we've had it around Doctor Who, around Twilight Zone, around Star Wars, that I've themed out. And we do have a special 5-year anniversary one for this episode. And I please listen to it. Zig and I listened to it this morning. I love it. Absolutely love it. But yeah, so we merged in that. So the show evolved over time. When we first started, my edit pages I would hand to Will were long long, long. I would have all kinds of stuff because we would have stuff where we screwed up, where we needed an edit, we said the wrong thing, or it just didn't fit. Now, 5 years into it, I barely have edit points when we go. We let it go. We just let the show run.
If the fuck ups are funny, keep them.
Oh, absolutely. And we kind of always did that.
Yeah.
But our edit points have been so small now. Will, God love him, he listens to the whole episode and listens for things we may have missed. But for the most part, it's very fluid how it goes now.
The edit notes now are like stab, opening, episode, use this particular piece for the outro.
Yeah. They're very small. They're very small.
Sometimes it'll be like, get rid of because we do have a lead up when we do it over Zoom. It's like, and we're recording in 3, 2, 1, and then we got to give it a second and then start talking.
Because that helps me with the editing when I'm going through it and listening to the show. But I mean, that's kind of the reality of 5 years. Our growth over time was a big portion of the show. And go back and listen to episode 1 versus 251, which came out last week. Yeah. Listen to the difference between those two shows. We learned different sound, different ways to talk about things, and we grew. We grew as this went in time. And those of you who have been with us since the beginning got to witness the change over time. Those of you who are new, I urge you, go back, listen to the first 3 episodes. Yeah. See where
episode 6 is a nightmare. Yeah. It's the first Star Trek episode where I didn't make any notes.
Yeah.
I was like, let's just talk. My notes were, let's just talk about Star Trek. And it was all over the place.
Oh, yeah. But we've had episodes like that where they've been all over the place. We've done that. And that's what I think is really cool about the show. We don't script this show out. I have notes for my Murdery because I have to have notes. I've got to have dates. I've got to have facts. I've got to have locations. I've got to have court records. So there are notes that I look through, but nothing in the show is scripted out, and that's what I think is really, really cool. So that kind of takes me, and I'll challenge you on this, Zig. When is the first time when the show felt real to you?
First episode.
Same. Exactly. The exact
first episode.
Same. I remember being nervous as all get out on the first episode. I know I had shake voice in that episode. I was nervous being on the air, nervous how people were going to think about it, and then we jumped forward a little bit and we took a chance and we invited a whole bunch of people to come watch us do it live. We did a live show in a rental room that we rented out where I live. And we did
that was
the show
the first
live.
Year episode anniversary.
Yeah. And in front of the live audience, boy, I tell you, talk about shake voice that day. That was nerve wracking.
We had a couple of people just come up just to talk, just to do some bullshit. Yeah. It was great.
It was amazing. That first year was amazing as we grew throughout the show. Started getting people who were listening in, people who were saying, "Hey, could you cover this? Hey, could you do that?" And that was really cool. It was the first time people started asking us for requests on episode. I think the very first request we got was for Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, and we did episode 32, something like that. Yeah, we did one.
I have to go back and look.
Yeah.
But it was amazing. It was great, and that's one of my favorite episodes too. I love the Battlestar Galactica one. That was so cool.
That was fun.
So we went all through that, and I guess for me, one of the biggest surprises about podcasting over 5 years is that we've kept going. We've kept showing up. There was a small segment, and I'll touch on this in just a minute. I don't want to go to this one because I actually want to touch on this in a minute. There was a segment where Zig was by himself for a while now, and I'll talk more about that.
Technically, I wasn't by myself.
No, you weren't. You weren't. But we'll like I said, we'll touch on that one in a minute. But the biggest surprise to me is that we could keep going and keep going, because back at the very beginning, even when we talked about doing this, we had the thought in our head, we're going to run out of topics. We're eventually going to run out of topics. I thought yeah, I'm probably going to run out of true crime. Unfortunately, that's not the case. I
Sad to say.
It's very sad to say I have not run out of subject. It is funny that when I run across a story, because you got to realize, sitting here on episode 252, I've covered so much. I'll run across a story and go, man, this is really interesting. Oh, wait, I've covered that one before.
Fuck, we've done this one.
That happened last week on our episode because Delaware I couldn't really cover in our A to Z because I'd already done it. Episode 101, I think it was. And there really wasn't much else in Delaware. There was Delaware adjacent. So I kind of had to leave that and go back to Connecticut.
In Delaware, go back to episode 101. We've done you.
But that's kind of where the surprise is to me, is that we kept having subjects to talk about. I was amazed at the guests that we've had on, how much fun those have been. But I think to me, the biggest surprise is the friendships we've made through the podcast, other people that we never would have met in life. Two Geeks and a Microphone, we never would have met them. Mm-hmm. Three Geeky Dads, we never would have met them. And I love talking with all of them. Michael Shanks at Two Geeks and a Microphone, he and I talk every year during football season. Mm-hmm. Every Sunday watching the Cowboys, he's become a good friend of mine. I know what's going on in his life. I know what's going on with his family. He knows what's going on with mine. But the friendships that we found through this, I think, is what's amazing. I think is what's absolutely amazing. And then the other thing that really kind of took me by surprise is what people think podcasting is versus what it really is. I'm going to tell you this right now. Podcasting is not easy. It's a grind, and you have to keep showing up. If you don't keep showing up, you'll lose people. You have to be consistent, and that's what we talked about at the very beginning. We have to release an episode once a week. We had to get on a cadence to where we could release once a week. That's one of the reasons we record so far in advance. Is because we have to have this cadence. We want to make sure that every single week you listeners have a show to listen to. We want to make sure every single week we are consistent with that schedule. At 12:01 midnight every Sunday, an episode drops.
Yeah.
And so
the reason that we wanted all that stuff in the can, and as Geoffrey said, let me give you folks a scenario. Okay, we record every 2 weeks. We try to record 3 episodes, right? Sometimes we don't get there. Sometimes the episodes run long. We got stuff to do. We only record 2. Well, 2 weeks later, it comes up. Somebody's sick to their stomach. We can't do it. Well, you know what? That's fine. Because we have 12 currently, right now, not even counting the stuff that's noted, recording. We have 12 episodes in the can right now. Yeah. They may not all be edited, but they're recorded and ready to go. That's 12 weeks from right now.
Right. And we have had some people say it kind of takes them out of it a little bit when we're so far behind where the episode actually comes out. But we have to do this. We both have full-time jobs. We both have families. We both have things outside of this that we have to do. In my world, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but in my world, I have work. I have golf because I'm not going to miss golf because I'm some weird addict. I'm on a board of directors. I have the podcast. I have my book. I have my social committee that I'm on. These things all take time. I have to be able to research my episodes somewhere in there. And so that's why we really have to do this. We have to do this in the keep these episodes scheduled way out because life does get in the way. Just last week was supposed to be a recording week for us, but we had to push it because I was up in DFW. I was going to be on the road when we were actually going to recover or record. So that's the reality of it is podcasting is not easy. It's hard. There's a lot that goes into it. I mean, sure, I guess anybody could grab a microphone and just start talking into it and not care about whether it sounds good, not care about their topic and just shout out to the world. I'm not saying that there's people out there that do that. I'm not disparaging anybody. But the fact of the matter is, if you want a good podcast that people are going to listen to, you have to be consistent and you have to provide them quality entertainment because that's what it is. And that's where our goal has been this whole time. We just want to entertain people. And that kind of thing is exactly why in the last few weeks we've seen a very large growth in our listener base, because people are finding us. People are finding out, hey, there's this weird little podcast out there that has these weird two little topics that seem to go together, and it's starting to grow. We said way back when at the 5-year point would be where it would really hit, and that's what we're starting to see now.
Someone, and I can't remember if it was This Is Why We Drink, or somebody else. I feature them. There's some of their stuff on our TikToks every once in a while, because they were kind of our, okay, we'll look at them kind of to see what they do, and maybe we'll riff on that. It's not to copy them, but that was kind of the template we wanted.
Right?
Yeah,
because and This Is Why We Drink is a really good podcast. I've listened to them for years as well. They have a two-sided show as well. They do supernatural followed by true crime. They'll do cryptids, and they'll do hauntings, and they'll do haunted houses, things like that, and then they do true crime. So we kind of stuck with that format where Zig does one side and then I pick up the other.
Yeah, and then so you talk to them, or maybe you were listening to them, and they said, look, 5 years is where you start really getting it. The problem is you have to consistently release each and every week or every 2 weeks, whatever your schedule is, consistently for that 5 years if you really want to be successful.
It wasn't them that said it.
I thought it was them.
No, I did not listen to them or talk to them. Excuse me. It wasn't them that said it. I actually found it on a website that a podcaster who was actually pretty successful was saying, how do you make a podcast successful? And consistency was the number one thing. Consistency of getting those episodes out. And that's where I was going with this, that I want to talk about that, because Zig talked about scheduling struggles, things that got in the way. There were weeks we just didn't feel like recording. So having those episodes in the can that were good. We had life seasons that made consistency hard, and burnout moments. And that's where I kind of talk about me a little bit. I went into a period of depression because of what was going on in my work life. And I just didn't have it in me. I know I can go back and listen to those episodes, and I can hear it in my voice that I just didn't have it. I just didn't have the heart in it that I normally had. And there was a point where I told Zig, I said, I got to step away for a bit. I don't know how long. I don't want to do this forever, but I got to step away for a bit. And so we recorded, there's an episode out there you'll see that's hiatus, and where we talked about we were going to go away for a little while. Well, Zig, God love him, he continued on. He powered through, and he kept having a Just Murdery. I think there were like 10 or 12 episodes.
There were 10 episodes of Just Nerdery, and one was a Just Murdery because I had someone else's take on one that you had done.
Yep. Albert Fish.
Just because I wanted to hear a different take, and her take was no different than yours. Actually, yours was better.
Well, I mean,
she's a listener, so don't mean to hurt her feelings, but she actually said that on the episode. So I don't feel like I'm speaking out of school.
No, but I appreciate that, because that gave me time to get mentally right with everything and get back to who I was. I will never, ever forget. And so maybe this is one of my favorite episodes. I don't even remember what the subject is. I'd have to go back and look, but I'll never forget the first episode. I was back on the show, and you can hear it in my voice. I was back, I was here, and I was ready to go. I was excited again. And so that's kind of one of the really hard parts about doing this. We still are real people and have real things that go on outside of this. We come in here week in and week out and try to give you entertainment, but there's things behind the scenes that it's just like, I can't do this week. I just can't. I creative fatigue sets in, you get all kinds of that. And so that gets to be a very, very hard thing about this show is when we just don't feel like doing it. And we got to just take a step back. So having those episodes ready to go, already scheduled to go out is huge for us. You know,
what was great about the Just Murdery period, to illustrate what you're saying, I'd released like 3 episodes of that, and he was back. We were recording.
Yeah.
But we didn't release until we'd released all 10 of those. So we had that 10 episodes in a can again.
Yeah, if you could have seen it, I mean, from a release episode, if we would have just released the next one I was on, you would have only had 3 weeks. But yeah, Zig had more in the can, so he kept going with it. So those of you listeners out there who have listened back to front and top to bottom, whatever, you get those 12 episodes where I'm just gone. But Zig carried on, and that's really, really important because he kept up with that consistency and kept us going. And it just kind of makes me think of the episodes as we go back and think about some of the funniest moments we've had on the show. Some of the funniest moments in some of the most serious spots of the show where it shouldn't have been funny, but it was. Mistakes that we made, jokes that happened on the air. Zig and I have fought on the air. We have fought to the point that we've had listeners who have actually written me and gone, "Real okay?" It's like, we're fine. Are you kidding me? We've had these arguments for years. It doesn't change anything between us.
No.
We
shit. Sometimes we might start shit just to start shit.
Sometimes we sit on mostly opposite sides of the spectrum politically, and so sometimes those will collide. And you get that with the show. And to me, some of the funniest stuff is just really the unintentional moments that just happen in the show. The laughter we've had through it. We try not to do anything comedic during the murder side of the house because I want to be very respectful to the victims.
Yeah. Except for the first one.
Yeah, that one was a very funny murder. Well, and
funny.
my 10 weird murders we did just recently.
Oh yeah. Oh, and the other one. Oh, I don't want to give it away, but it's weeks ago where you did one that wasn't actually real. Just fucking with us.
Well,
I love that episode.
That episode's now out. So,
well, then there you go. It was an April Fool's joke. It was fucking incredible, and I was like, God damn!
Because I had him. I had Zig. I had him hook, line,
because I was
sinker.
Like, wait. I need to go back because sometimes I will stop him in the middle of the murders because I'm trying to keep track of the timeline. Yep. Because I need it to make sense in my head.
And unfortunately, if we have people listening to this out of order, they may not have heard that one yet, but that's okay. Our regular listeners who have been since the beginning, they will have heard the April Fool's episode before we get to here, which is, to me, was hysterical because I sincerely hope our listeners got the same hook Zig did because I could see him sitting closer in the chair going, what the fuck is going on here? What is happening? And I had so much fun with that. I was doing everything I could to not laugh the more I got into the episode, because of course I knew the hit, I knew the punchline, I knew where the twist was going to be, where I revealed that, and it was hysterical to me.
My God, that was funny. Oh, that was so funny.
Hysterical.
Thank you for doing that. That was hysterical.
Absolutely, and that kind of takes me to the next thing is when I talk about what is the most meaningful episode to me. For me, it's going to be there's actually several. Sylvia Likens was a very meaningful episode to me because I was very personally touched by that. Giselle Ford just recently, and that one's live now, and I've had people ping me and go, "Are you okay?"
No,
that one was hard.
That fucked me up.
Yeah, it did. But honestly, if I want to touch on the one that is most meaningful to me, it's the one that I was so on fire to cover because I was recording it as the event was happening live, and that was the disappearance of Gabby Petito.
Oh, the Petito one? Yeah. We actually did some special episodes for that too.
Yes, we did. Well, we did a special episode, and then I covered as the case went on. So that one to me was a very meaningful episode. Other than that one, I think meaningful to me because I just thought that The content in them were very, very good, and they're actually two separate episodes. The MASH episode with Trey, and the second episode that he appeared on that I think Faulty Towers was his part of it, and then the Circleville letter writer.
Oh yeah,
those were the most meaningful one to me. What was yours?
Didn't one of our listeners, have we said his name? Can I say his name?
Who?
That gave us the Circleville letter writers, because we know who it is.
Nobody gave us that.
I thought Caps gave that too. I'm gonna just I'll call him Cap. That's fine. I thought Cappy told you to do that one.
No.
Oh
No. Are you talking about Glenn?
yeah.
Yeah. No. He's a listener to the show. I'll holler at him. I know he listens. No, he didn't give me that one. I found that one from a 2020 episode. Nobody gave me that.
Oh, I know what it was. He knew about it.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Okay. I'm with you now.
Yeah, because it was
Trey and I were like,
Ohio.
Trey and I were looking at each other like, he was like off to the side. He was like, what am I supposed to do? Now, Trey has a background in production, so he knows how to talk to me without actually saying words.
Yeah.
Right? He's really good at it. And I'm like, nothing, just fucking go with it. If you want to say something, fucking say something.
Yeah. Those were fun. Our initial guest moments were fun. We only had 2 microphones. We couldn't get in a third. And so the sound quality for our guests kind of got a little weird at some point.
Yeah. We put the microphone between us at one point.
Trey was,
and they were directional mics, so it didn't work really well.
Trey was our first guest.
Yeah, Trey.
We had Keith on. We had Dawn on. We've had the 2 Geeks and a Microphone guys, Stephen and Michael. We've had the 3 Geeky Dad, most of 3 Geeky Dads on. Who did we have? We had Brian and help me. It wasn't just
Tito.
Brian, was it? No, we didn't have Tito on with us.
Brian and oh my God,
we had 2 of them.
Yeah.
Dadgummit, and I feel bad now that I'm forgetting. I've talked to Brian so much more. And so
we talk to Brian all the time.
I apologize. That's why I know him, because he's in a chat group with us. I apologize. 3 Geeky Dads we have also had on the show, most of 3 Geeky Dads. Let's see, Dawn. We had on
Derek, Roger, and Tito.
Thank you. We had my sister on. We've had a lot of guests, and it's just really, really cool that we've been able to do that. I loved our guest moments, and I love the banter that happened with the guests. Those have been so cool. When we hit 50,000 downloads, that was amazing, and we're well past that now. But that was I'll go back to the first 1,000, the first 10,000, and just watching those numbers and going, oh my God, people are listening to this.
Yeah, we're like the biggest thing in this little town in Bangladesh.
Yeah,
it's weird. Yeah, we're the hottest thing in Pabna, Bangladesh, and neither of us can figure out why.
We were number 2 in Chile for a while.
Yeah,
can't figure out why.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and you were like, "What did you do to piss off Chile?" I was like, "Fuck, I don't know."
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I do want to pause you.
Yeah.
I would like, since we're talking about all the guestery and ideas that have come from us.
K3, we had her.
K3, yeah. I have a list that I would like to thank, because I wrote them all out because I sat down and thought about it the other day. Painted Lady, K3, Kid, Kelsey Lou, Red Sonia, Angela, Prickly Pineapple Creations, Cassie, Gailbird, Trey, Linda, Amanda, Don, Randy, Keith, Ashley, Casey, Goff, Jen and Chrissy in Ohio, Mike, Steven, Brenda, Brian, Mimi, Rachie, Johnny, Georgie, Derek, Roger, Tito, Will, Wendy, Morrow, Paul, who was a step, Andra, Windy Like the Wind, Lola, Mr. Coffee, KERA, KNON, KTCU, CASA Survivors Group, and the TISM. For anyone I forgot, I am sorry.
Oh yeah, a lot of them. My sister listens. I've got friends here that listen. I love that they've just picked it up. So many people out there, so many listeners. I don't even know how many listeners we have now, and I'm not saying we're a crime junkie level. Which, if you don't know, Crime Junkie is the number 1 true crime podcast out there. Or they may not be number 1 anymore. They used to. Not saying we're on their level at all, but we have some very dedicated listeners, and it's just been really growing over the last year because I think that word's getting out. People leaving reviews helps us out, and it gets out there, and it's just been amazing. And then the listener interactions are so cool as well. Glenn, my friend that we talked about, he loves commenting on when he loves commenting as he's listening to the show, which is hysterical. He'll ping us over Messenger and tell us something. Had a fan. We've got a fan out there that has some Nerdery and Murdery merchandise, and they love to wear it out in public, and they have had people stop them and go, "What the hell is that?" Michael Shank's wife, who we're her favorite podcast. I'm kidding, Mike. I know your podcast.
Yeah, we're her
favorite.
Yeah, we're her second favorite podcast.
We love you, Brenda. But yeah, the listener interactions is so cool. I love hearing from listeners. If you want to contact us, we have our emails on our website, nerderyandmurdery.com. We also have on our Facebook page, you can contact us through there. Leave comments for us, send emails. Any way you want to contact us, please do, because I love getting the interactions from fans and listeners that have talked about the things they loved about the show. Even the ones that have said, because believe me, I have this as well. I have people I've talked to that said, "Man, I really love listening to Zig on your show. I can't listen to your part because you're too dark." And I've had the exact opposite that says, "I love the true crime. I just can't listen to the nerdery." We've had
it's
both.
too pedantic.
And that's cool. That's fine. And that's we've got listeners for both sides. We've got listeners that listen to both. And so those interactions with fans is amazing, and we love it. We love to hear from you. Things that you want to hear or just want to comment on. Tell us how we're stupid. Tell us how we're idiots. Tell us how we got shit wrong, because we have.
Sometimes I will be in the thick of things, and my brain will take two similar people sounding names, and I will say the wrong name because in my brain those two names are linked.
Well, we've done that. We've also named wrong episodes for shows or said something wrong about a show we watched. Keith has told us there were times he listened to the show where he's actually yelling at the radio because we got it wrong.
Yeah, you got it wrong.
That stuff is awesome. It fuels us and it keeps us going. So keep doing that. Keep doing that. We absolutely love it. And then as we've gone throughout the years, as I reflect, I really look at what has changed on the show. What has changed as we've gone. Sometimes in some of the episodes, I think we've become more reflective on what we've done. We've changed our viewpoint on how we do. We've changed our tempo. We've changed the way we deliver it. For me, I've actually learned to listen more. Listen more to what Zig's saying. Listen to more to what our listeners are saying, and listen more to people in general. This show has taught me that, because I've always been a pretty gregarious person. I'm very outgoing. I don't meet strangers, but I've now learned, and I can actually kind of sit back and just kind of watch things for a while. And that's something that this show has taught me. What about you? What has the show taught you?
Honestly, and I might get a little sappy. I might get a little sappy on this. The things that people used to make fun of me for obsessing about, other people obsess about. I don't feel like such a weirdo anymore. The show has helped with that. Getting older may have also helped with that, but the show definitely has helped. It's like, oh my God, you talked about Betamax players, and I love those things. I was like, because my whole point of view was I didn't, yes, we could go in in depth and discuss specific episodes of Star Trek or a specific film or this or that. I don't want to do that. I want to talk about different lanes of this nerdery. And if we need to go in a little deeper, we can go back later and go in a little deeper. Or this particular set of albums by this band, I think is, amazing. And we need to talk about it because no one else is, or in some cases, the indie music. If we don't talk about this and get it out, this information will go away, and it doesn't need to, because it's important, because it's the butterfly effect. It's important because it costs someone to listen to this, and it costs someone to listen to this. Mm-hmm. And without this particular indie music scene, we wouldn't have gotten an entire genre of rock and roll that we have today.
Sure, and we've talked about that on the show too. I've done the same thing on the Murdery side. I mean, the entire thought, as when we first got into this, is I'd be covering murders, but then that also evolved into disappearances where somebody has never been found, to cults. I mean, granted, there's usually murders involved in that. Excuse me, but
the cults are cool.
The cults are very interesting, and they're fascinating to me. So I do the very, very similar. And I'll step back real quick. Some of the most memorable episodes to me and are funny to me, and we started this on episode 10, and then we went to 25, and then we did every 25 episodes, is what we affectionately call our wife swap. Wife swap was stolen, by the way. That was stolen from a radio station in Dallas, Fort Worth. And what they do is, it's a talk show, and once or twice a year, I can't remember what it is.
It's at Christmas time. It's during the holidays.
It's at Christmas time. They draw names out of a hat and put different hosts on different time slots with different hosts, so they're not with their normal partner that they do on the show. And they call that their wife swap. We adopted that because we wife swap the Nerdery and the Murdery. I love doing the nerdery, and I can nerd out on some shit. And I've nerded out on fantasy football. I've nerded out on Stephen King, Peter Gabriel, Genesis. I've got a lot more to come that you'll be able to listen to. Matter of fact, my next one is also going to be a music nerdery. I'm not going to give it away now. I'll let you get there when you get there. But what's funny to me, and I love just sitting there and listening, I love sitting and listening to Zig as he did the very first Murdery, and hear how uncomfortable he was covering it.
I hate them.
And God love him. He has now evolved to where he is covering very historical things.
It's a history lesson.
It's a history lesson, which has put him in more of a comfort zone. But I love it. I absolutely love it. I love that he still allows me to do that. For me to step away from the dark for an episode and do a nerdery of my own. I love those episodes. They're so much fun. And this really kind of shows, because of where he is now on his and where I've gone on the nerdery side, is how over the years we have built up and rebuilt our confidence. We had tough times, we had tough moments, but we have built this over the years, and the confidence of us showing up weekly and keeping doing this stuff has been phenomenal. And honestly, for those of you who are not aware, who have not heard it, Zig and I have known each other over 30 years. A very long time. We met in the early 90s. Yeah, we've honestly known each other since high school, which is when we met. I'm not going to tell that story. I said I would never tell it on the air. Maybe I did. I don't know. Anyway, bygones.
You should tell it. Now's the time to do it.
Not gonna.
He was a bully.
I wasn't a bully. I wasn't a bully. I was an asshole that day. But we developed a friendship over the years, and there were years where it was just Zig and I doing things together. And we were always together. We worked together. We went out drinking afterwards. We'd go to a breakfast place and sit and talk, or we'd live
together a couple of times.
We lived together. We'd go to my apartment. We'd watch Pulp Fiction. All these kind of things. It was a bond. And I think this podcast has grown that bond even more. It's developed a very strong friendship, and I don't say it enough, and I'm going to say it right now. I love you, man. I do.
I love you, man.
You are my hetero life mate, and my wife. My wife tells people all the time. People talk about. People will ask about the podcast when my wife is around, and she goes, "Oh yeah, he does that with his wife." Um, but that's what's been a really cool thing about this podcast is this has just bonded us even more and more and more. So I thank you for what we've done with this, and I thank you for keeping with me on this. I thank you for being with me through the hard times, keeping the show going, and really keeping everything on track. Because without you, I think we would have lost a lot. And so I do appreciate you. I appreciate our longtime listeners. I want to thank every single one of you out there that have been there from the beginning. The early supporters that were there before we started. The new listeners who have started recently, I want to thank you as well, because you're the reason we're continuing to grow. Our old listeners help foster that, and you're the reason we're continuing. All of our guests, all of our cross pod friends, all of our behind the scenes supporters. The fact that Zig's wife and my wife 100% support that every 2 weeks on a Sunday morning, we got to go away. We have to do this, and the support we get for that is beyond.
Yeah. It's not as much as before. Whereas I would leave the house at 7:00 and not get home till 6. Now I'm at my house.
Right.
We break in between them because there's a download time.
Yeah.
So it's a lot easier now.
Yeah. But the people that support us behind the scenes deserve a lot of thanks.
Yeah. Let's thank Will. Will goes through and listens to each and every one of these every week.
Big shout out for Will for continuing to produce this year after year after year, 5 years now.
Yeah.
I had something. Oh, my wife. I'm going to go back to my wife real quick. Not only does she support me doing this, it's pretty amazing that she does, because my wife does not listen to this show.
Yeah.
And let me tell you the reason why she doesn't listen to this show. She doesn't listen to this show because she has said verbatim, I have heard y'all talk about this shit for years. I don't need to listen to it every week.
For the exact same reason, yeah. I don't need to hear this shit. I've heard this. Okay.
And I respect that. I absolutely respect that.
Totally.
And it's just so funny. It's not that she doesn't like listening to us. She has had the unfortunate instance of sitting in the house when we have done a gaming weekend where it's been Zig and I and Keith, or Zig and I and Randy, or Zig and I and Keith and Randy, or Dawn. As she has had to sit in the house and listen to us go through so many subjects over a 48-hour period that she just got to go somewhere.
You guys have talked about 50 things in the last fucking hour.
Yes. So I have no animosity towards my wife for not listening to the show. I completely appreciate it, but I love the fact that our wives support us to this day on this show, which is amazing.
I'd like to thank you. I'll be honest, buying the microphones and stuff, homie fronted the bill. I mean, I threw a little bit in, but I really didn't have it. And homie fronted the bill, straight up.
And I'll reverse that. I'll thank you again, because like I said, you kept this going when I couldn't mentally for a while. So, big shout out there. Shout out to our friend Chuck, who uses our show to go to sleep, which is hysterical to me.
Not telling people that, Chuck.
Well, I told him, I said,
it's now part of the show.
Yes. I told him, I said, you understand that's not a compliment, right? And he laughed about it, because he actually does listen to the whole show. He says we're very soothing, and it helps him go to sleep. And then he listens to the episode the next day.
Yeah.
But what's funny about that is I started adding that at the end of the show as a joke. We now have listeners out there that tell their significant other, you can go to sleep now, Chuck. Good night, Chuck.
Good night, Chuck.
Whenever they're going to bed, which is hysterical to me.
You can have go to sleep now, Chuck.
That's happened. Because if you go back to the very beginning, we tried to kind of force some slogans or some lines per se, but over the years, things just kind of magically appeared in there, and it was
you're an
very
idiot,
funny.
and cue the music kind of came up.
Yes.
Which we still do. Cue the music ends every episode.
Absolutely. Absolutely, which I always thought was a phenomenal thing.
Oh, and like the murder stuff and the cue the music, I record those live every time. Those are not those are not stabs.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes they'll sound different. Because it'll be like murder. And I get way down deep.
The close that I do every week is not scripted. I know this out of my head because I've just said it over and over and over again. And it's funny. The Giselle Ford just recently, I couldn't finish, and I told Zig, "You're going to have to close the show."
Oh my God! And I'm so bad at this.
Guy, he crumpled his way through it, but he made it through it. But yeah, that's not scripted. None of this is scripted in this show. We just go.
Think after hearing that 250 times, I would know it by now.
One would think you're an idiot. So, kind of really the final thing here. The thing that excites me most right now about the show is that we are still going strong. That we have lots of things coming up. We have lots of subjects still going. And it excites me.
I have 12 episodes written out past this one right now.
I can only do 3 in a 2-week period. That's as most as I can do. But the other thing that excites me is the fact that here at the 5-year point, we are seeing what we imagined so many years ago is word of mouth getting out there, and we're getting people joining and joining and joining. And listening to the show. I've watched our downloads go up, and that is amazing to me and excites me that we're.
Hey kids, if you'll pay us to do this, we'll do this twice a week. I'll throw that out there. But we need a lot more of you to listen.
Yeah, that's very true. But yeah, that excites me is getting these shows out to a new audience and having a new audience getting in to listen to these episodes. I think are great. We have no outlook. Is that the word I'm looking for? We have no outlook of thinking the show is going to end anytime soon.
Yeah.
I think this show can easily go another 5 years. This show will go until we just absolutely can't anymore because
we've run out of shit to talk about.
Yeah. If we ever do, which I don't think we will. So I really look forward to another 5 years. That continued consistency. We will still drop an episode at 12:01 midnight every Sunday. That's Saturday night into Sunday, just so you're aware. We've got a lot of good stuff coming up. Where Zig has a lot of good nerdery stuff coming up. I've got a whole bunch more on my A to Z series through serial killers through America. It's been fun. It's been a great 5 years. When we started Nerdery and Murdery 5 years ago, we did not know if we would make it 5 months, much less 5 years.
I thought effectively we could probably stretch it out 2 years, which if you're counting, that's 104 episodes.
Yeah.
But I think it was about the 2-year mark where you had we did the hiatus, and I was like, I got 10 more in me at least.
Yeah.
And what was great is as I was doing them, he was like, okay, I think I can come back and we can do this. I'm like, whoa, let's get these finished and we'll get some in the can. And at that point, I had an explosion in my mind on writing episodes. And I wrote 25 episodes ahead. I took a day off of work and I did it for an entire day from like sunup to sundown. And I wrote like 25 episodes. And of course, we also do exclusive episodes for our Patreons. Those are in the mix as well. You'll get a YouTube playlist with them, but you won't get any of the stuff because it's for our Patreons.
Yeah, we've got almost, I think our next exclusive is exclusive 30.
Yeah.
So if you're not getting enough Nerdery and Murdery, there's our exclusives out there.
There you go.
It's for our patrons, our Patreon, on our Patreon, our patrons get that. So if you need more, they're out there.
There you go. And you get, as soon as the episodes are processed, you get them. So they're getting,
you get them.
We got 12 in a can.
You get weeks in advance, because as soon as they are edited and uploaded in our schedule, I release them on our Patreon.
Yeah.
So you get them much earlier than everybody else, which is really cool. But really, I mean, kind of to close this out, week after week and episode by episode, this show became more than just microphones and topics. It became a routine in our lives. It became a creative outlet, and it became a connection point. Especially to our listeners, to everyone out there who's listened, whether you've been here since episode 1 or you just found us last week, thank you for being here. Thank you for getting in it, for sitting through our head movies. Thank you for listening to us drone on, because honestly, let me tell you what podcasting really feels like. It feels sometimes like you're just shouting into the void.
Shouting into the void.
Until the one day when you realize someone's shouting back to you. 5 years down, as friends, we're just getting warmed up.
Yeah,
we really are. I think we have got the engine warm, and we are ready to go. And normally I would close us with where to find us and how to support the show. Today, I'm not doing that, y'all. I'm not doing that today. Today, I want to say from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. We do this every single week for you, the faithful listeners. You provide the energy to keep us going. And then the last thing I will say, if you've been with us for a while, do me a favor. Drop the first episode you remember listening to in the post for this episode when it comes out on our Nerdery and Murdery Facebook page. We would genuinely love to hear what your first episode was.
What was your first episode? And if it was episode 6, I'm sorry.
I wouldn't say I'm sorry on that. That was a growth episode. It was things we learned from, and I think it was valuable in itself. But yeah, please, if you are listening to this right now and you are not a fan or a follower on our Facebook page, please do. Zig has a lot of videos on there. I've been trying to do daily posts in there as well, kind of some behind the curtains. But when this episode drops and the post is out on Facebook, please do comment in there what your very first episode was or your favorite episode. I would love to see it and hear from you. So again, one more time, not to be repetitive, I want to thank you all from the bottom of our heart. Please listen to the music at the end, because it was created specifically for the show. I do hope you enjoy it. I really hope we can give you another 5 years. Zig, I can't wait for another 5 years with you, because I'm going to do this whether we have anybody listening or not, because I just love hearing this shit.
Yeah. It's weird. It's fun.
Yeah. So honestly, with that,
I have been Zig with your nerdery.
And for 5 years, I have been Geoffrey with your murdery.
Cue the music.
Boot up the mic, same worn desk, week after week, we give what's left. Light before dark, we draw that line, the nerd and the murd on borrowed time. Inside jokes